Um, Today we're going to do a bit of channeling and see where that goes, plus maybe have some chit chats. So this is where my higher self connects to the Palladians, the Cyanians, Mother Earth, the elementals, and humanity's consciousness. But please be aware that I actually go deeper and deeper as I go through the video. So sometimes it sounds a bit surfacey at the beginning, but then the connection just gets stronger and stronger. And I've noticed a lot of really important messages coming on as you go along. But there is an actual connection that happens, and then I'm in the zone. In any case, welcome everybody. I'm just going to check out to see if I can get this chat bar going. I am restreaming today. So today I'm going to be live on Facebook, on my Facebook plus my YouTube. But you can send me a message in the chat bar if you want. So let's get into this and the energies that are happening at the moment. Wow, I literally have to take a deep breath myself because it's been quite a journey, right? But it's really interesting to note that this morning, after I've gone through so much recently, I personally feel so much lighter. And this happened to me back in like 20 years ago when my guides sent me on this massive journey of how to come back into my higher integrity, my authentic self, stillness of my mind. Like they literally started to give me messages after they directed me in my mind where to dig up a gold bracelet on a beach. So they literally said, open the car door and dig. And I dug, and this gold bracelet that was worth thousands of dollars was there. And then that sort of sent me on this journey of self-discovery for the next 2 years. And literally what we are going through now, what humanity is going through now, we are going through this whole understanding of who we truly are authentically, which releases the ties to expectations of other people telling us who we are. And this is what's happened recently, like even in relationships and so forth that we get entangled into. The more that you can release yourself from that relationship and come together as more of a magnet, then the relationship comes together as how it's supposed to be. So sometimes when we're seeking something outside of ourselves, we see somebody and maybe their relationship with you is supposed to be just friends, or supposed to be somebody that helps you with your business, or supposed to be something else. But because you're yearning for this love that you haven't given yourself, you bring them in and you start to have a relationship. They're like an actual loving relationship with them, a romantic one. And then you find that things aren't working because your connection or your energy and alignment is actually not supposed to be a romantic relationship. It's supposed to be a friendship, a help, a guiding hand, or something like that. But because we've not gifted ourselves any sort of love within ourselves, and we're yearning or grasping for anyone outside of us to give us that, then we just kind of take whoever. And we end up in narcissism relationships and all sorts of things then that happens because of our own lack within ourselves. And I've noticed that even within my own relationships and us, moving into friendship and so forth, and going back and forth a little bit within my mind, and then going recently has been just this purging of expectations. And then because of that, I've just woken up this morning and gone, holy crap, I feel so much lighter, so much more in control of my own destiny, where that's going. And I don't have any expectations whatsoever. The expectations have just fallen away. And I think that this is a really profound thing that's happening right here, right now, because we can take ourselves so far into, the higher dimensions and all that on our own. But it's not until we get reflected with somebody else and then we start to see the wobble of what we're actually trying to grasp for, because we never saw it within ourselves. And so we constantly keep bringing in the same dynamics and the same relationships. But no relationship should be out of graspiness. No relationship should be out of wishing and hoping and all of that sort of thing, that that person's going to fulfill you in a certain way and or a certain aspect. It should always be a magnet that draws you together as the rightful place that that relationship should be. And then that gifts you the freedom, like, because those people are there in that moment, in that time, to do what we were supposed to do as a collaboration. And that's not to say that romance doesn't come in and that it could be a lifetime, this lifetime romantic partnership, but it's at least coming in through a magnetizing rather than a grasping. So there's a lot about relationships happening at the moment. Hey, Cherie in the chat bar, good to see you. Yeah, and Janine, good afternoon over there. Good morning over here. Lovely to catch you here too. So yes, so there's so much more going on here than meets the eye when it comes to these energies that are really ramping up and changing us into more and more and more authenticness, bringing us into higher frequencies, starting to trust who we are, no longer leaning on somebody else. And that in itself, if you can imagine humanity all doing this work and understanding that they're coming back to their own inner core, how we're never going to be looking outside for any sort of leadership coming from lack within us. So that we seek outside of us would already have come from a point of view of they're showing me like a web or a puzzle or like a web, like a kind of like a matrixy web thing or a tree of life kind of circle. And they're showing me all these different things. And it's like, then you have a piece of the puzzle to connect to that person and so forth. And yeah, so that's really cool. Sorry, just release that. So that's really cool, because then we end up actually having these relationships that come together where we're fulfilling each other. And our fulfillment ends up being the correct fulfillment, where it's not accidentally grasping for something more out of that person that was only sent to you for a specific purpose. And sometimes they're saying it's not like in alignment. It could be in alignment just for a moment. And then that moment disperses and more to allow something else to come in, but they were the stepping stone to these others and so forth. And so we're not then held bound by anything. We are living a life through freedom of figuring out who we are first. And that will make a big difference to every relationship we have, whether it be to our children, to those that are in power at the moment, and all of that, because we're changing the world from the inside out, and we're no longer needing for anything. And what happens when you don't need for something? Then it starts to fall away from your reality. It's like a reverse, they're saying, of the elemental world, where when the masculine mind came in charge many eons ago, that masculine mind didn't want to have the connection, only wanted to have a very limited connection. It only had a limited connection because that's what its whole purpose was, just to have this lifetime understanding and memories of this lifetime, but nothing beyond this lifetime. It's what the logical mind is all about. And so the connections to other worldly beings and elementals and that kind of let go. And through stories of distortion, we ended up feeling like we didn't need for that connection, even though the elementals actually connect us to Mother Earth herself and gift us a lot of information and wisdom about plant life and that sort of thing. But this is like an invitation of that. So now when we start to really find our connection back again, and we realize that we can actually gain wisdom through our soul's connection, and that will encompass a lot of past lives and what we've gone through, memories coming up of that, using our imagination and the appropriateness that it has held a lot of memory of past lives, which then incorporate really different dynamics, because the soul has gone on a massive journey, not just in a human form. The soul has gone on a massive journey through all these different perspectives, even within the animal world and the plant life. And so that means that we're opening up this whole new connection, and that means that the world, the ones that are in charge at the moment, that we so thought that we needed their approval, or we needed their guidance, we needed their laws, we needed their structure, will end up not being needed anymore. So what happens then, right? They fall away, just the same as what happened many eons ago when our logical mind was all that was, being heard to. So now we're having this inverted game of coming back to our authentic self, and that's why all of the things that we don't need will start to fall away. And it's not necessary to fight them, because when you fight them, you're giving them fuel. You're fueling them up. And they literally love that game. The mind, the logical mind, is only that reflection. Our logical mind loves to be fueled with, remember this, remember that, remember this. Oh, I'm playing the game. I'm in charge. I'm doing everything. I'm the only one you should listen to. Don't listen to that intuition. Don't listen to that memory of a past life or anything. That's just nothing. Don't feel into all of that sort of stuff. So when we start to control that side of ourselves and say to our logical mind, hey, reel it in, mate. We don't need to listen to you like that so much anymore. We're going to expand ourselves into bringing in the beauty of wisdom that comes from our own soul's connection, which just expands us way beyond what somebody else can tell you, that's only coming from their logic, because they're literally only coming from this lifetime too. Even those that are so-called empowered, they're only coming from this lifetime. That's the human side anyway, the humans. I'm not talking about the next stage up with the where those beings that kind of know the game from another level. Yeah, so there's so much more. Sorry, I'll just turn this off. Excuse me. Just did the wrong button. Not in this world at the moment. And turn that off. Okay, it's all done. Sorry about that. Got a message coming through and I had to get rid of it. Interesting. I've got messages coming through, and then the logical outside world is like grabbing my attention again while I'm talking exactly about this. That's so interesting. Yeah, so at the moment, the energies that are coming in, it can feel really detrimental to in certain moments where you're just purging and purging, or you're just trying to figure out certain things or aspects of where this is all going. And the fear game that the logical mind will start to pulsate. Oh my God, if you don't have this, if you don't have all your, your ducks in the line, oh my God, this is all going to happen. But this whole energy shift is all about learning to trust ourselves from our soul's perspective, that our soul can be our guidance. And when we have something so powerful that is guiding us, and that our soul is so powerful, when we have that and all the opportunities that can come up as we start to align our energies and our movements, our actions towards that goal, it expands us way, way more than what the logical mind could ever had incorporated on its own. And And then the logical mind is going to go, whoa, hang on a sec, I don't know it all. I can actually trust this intuition, this feeling, this understanding of something way beyond what my logical mind can comprehend. And so then it's put in its place. And with that, we find balance. So when we find balance within ourselves, our reflection of our world starts to balance out automatically as well. And then we start to see the rise of certain things that we are really interested in, which might be outside the normal box. And we start to also see the fall of other things. If somebody is trapped within their mind through these times, their logical mind through these times, and they are fearing the future, and they are fearing tapping into the power of their own intuition and their soul, if they start to do that, then their reflection will end up being quite combating monsters literally coming out of the closet and feeling like they are being attacked by. But what they're being attacked by is them not wanting to acknowledge the power of who they are, because there's nothing that can come towards you that isn't your power being reflected either in a good way or a negative way, or about a way that you come into fear of yourself. Because source energy at the whole point, at the very frequency of itself, is just love going on a journey. It is only its own power of creation, and everything is that. Everything is that. So if everything is that, and we are having something coming at us that is of great power, of negativity, of fear-based, then it is only within us that we haven't found the power to be of equal standing to that ends up, when you're at equal, and when you're equal to it, there's no fear to it anymore. It will just be like, okay, well, I don't actually want to give that any attention anymore, because I know at any given moment it comes towards me. I just go, well, whatever, and flick it off, because your power is easily flicking it off. It's easily not giving it anything. So when you can get to the point of you not giving attention to the negative aspects of your life, which means that you have to go within yourself to find those points of expectation that you had on the outside world, giving you something that you never saw within yourself, then you end up then you end up coming in power within yourself, and then those things will fall. Then those things don't seem to mean so much. They don't rattle your cage or anything like that. So I'm really loving these messages coming through that are really empowerment messages, like bringing us back to our authentic self, and watching and realizing that the fear game was just a fear game of a lack of empowerment within ourselves that we didn't want to acknowledge, we didn't want to look at, because we didn't want to shine our light that bright. And we were scared that we would be taught by our logical brain that everything outside of us has to gift us what our purpose is, or how much power we have. And so when we take it back, we empower ourselves, and that means that we're no longer searching outside of ourselves for that empowerment. And so that means that we are actually walking, standing, being authentically us, moving through our life and our adventures, taking on way bigger risks. And they're not risks anymore, because we've already fueled ourselves into knowing that each step that we take is towards more empowerment, more love, more love, more love. Of who we are. And then we are fueling this world with love, because we are fueling ourselves with that. And so we become more and more authentically us. And there's a release that happens, like it did with me this morning, where the expectation of what my relationship should look like has fallen away. I don't have any expectation of it anymore. I'm actually feeling freer. And I still absolutely love the company of my partner, but we are friends and we are just free to explore whatever. Of course, when a romantic partnership comes in, it is fulfilling that love within yourself of a tactile body love, as well as a mind love, as well as a heart love, as well as a soul love. It will fuel all of that. It's really interesting when I was going on dating and I was single for 9 years and all of that. My daughter, as you know, I was really focusing on bringing up my children. Um, my daughter said to me every time I met someone, I'm like, oh, not again, you know, next kind of thing. My daughter said, I know what you're looking for. You're looking for four things. You're looking for someone to fulfill your mind, to fulfill your intelligence, to fulfill your body's expectations of hugs and cuddles and everything, and tactile, you know, this 3D world love. And you're looking for someone that just opens your heart to exploring more, and you're looking for someone to connect to soul-wise. So she just said you're looking for four things: mind, body, soul, and heart. And I'm like, yeah, I am. Like, that's true. And it's one of those things that it's not until I'm in alignment with those things within myself that I'm no longer grasping for anyone to fulfill that. It'll literally just be a magnet of that coming together, whether it be a past person, a new person, it doesn't matter. It's just going to be an alignment of that. And the same goes for success and career when you want to bring that into your reality more. When you start to fuel your own boat of that and keep following the dreams of what your soul really loves to go on and exploring that freely without trying to grasp for how the outside world perceives it anymore. When you start to do that, you'll start to magnetize the right people, the right opportunities, and they come and they go, or they come and they stay, or whatever it happens, you know, they become stepping stones for the next and the next, but it all ends up aligning with you in the actual moment that you are, of how much you've gained control and power of yourself, and how you are aligning yourself to the outside world just starts to align that to that. It's already present within you. So all of your leaps of faith then become no longer a leap of faith. It's a leap of acknowledgement. It's a leap of, I know who I am. We are then coming back to the, I know who thyself is. I know myself so integrity. There's a word they're trying to use. I don't know. Yeah, and my logical mind goes, I don't know that word. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Anyway, it's kind of like, you know, such a tight understanding of who you are, that it frees you to become this expansive person of just being you and loving who you are in the moment. It's so beautiful. I think because I just did all this work, and I really am grateful for the relationship that I've had with Michael, even though it's turned into a friendship, because it has awoken so much in me. It's awoken my own power and understanding, and I feel free. I feel a lot freer within myself, which then allows these messages to pour through me even more, because I'm more in line with my soul. And the same goes for you guys. So your soul might have something that it really wants to do in this world. It really wants to, I don't know, it might even want to bring something 3D and physical into this world. It might want to have a physical interaction in a 3D world where you are I don't know, inventing something amazing, you know, that the world can then expand into way more playfulness and way more opportunities. But all of these things coming from our heart, nothing can go wrong. Source energy, oneness itself, prime creator, doesn't see anything as wrong. It sees everything as opportunity to grow. as sees everything as opportunity to have an adventure, to explore, to have something new coming into its reality through you, where you're like enlightened, and your enlightenment and the feeling of that, it just goes, wow, I love that feeling. That's a new feeling. That's what it loves. That's the expansion of creation. That's why it wants to create more and more and more and more and more. And then we end up having these places of opportunity where love isn't present. And so the humanity is born into this love not present, very imbalanced situation. But then it's gone on a journey where it's taken it so far that it consumes itself. And then when it starts to consume itself, it starts to realize the pull of itself from love itself, and that's who it is in its identity. And so then it starts to go, well, we need to come back into a balance. And then we start to infuse more love into this 3D world. So we're still here in the physical plane where we have, the tangible objects where our body can't go through them. And there's a limitation that is needed for us to be able to hold a cup. And it's not just etheric, and our bodies aren't just etheric. We can feel it. We have a different feeling when we do this to if it was an etheric cup that just disappeared or dispersed. You wouldn't get that friction between. So the feeling you don't have. And the same goes for humanity on this journey. We are exploring these new feelings. So source energy is enlightened by these new feelings that humanity is exploring as it brings more love, more soul into this 3D world. So we're not just, we've got it in our brain that we're all going to lift into these higher frequencies of being. It's not to say that you couldn't move into the higher frequencies of being in that fifth dimensional aspect of self and being able to journey through the astral body and go and explore and all that, like in the fifth and higher dimensions. But it's also that we have the physical body, like we have the tangible physical body that we can infuse more and more love into our souls. So what happens when more and more love is going into each cell of our body, then we can actually, and those cells are just vibrating in the higher love frequency. We feel more. So we're going on an even bigger journey. And I love that. It's so, so cool. Yeah. So there's just so much more that's happening at the moment with our growth. And stop worrying about what other people think. Stop worrying about, oh my God, I'm going through another shadow self. Oh my God, everything's falling away. And now the worst of the world and everyone that sees me is going to see me as less than. No, this is the journey you're going on so that you can release everything, so that you can find yourself, your authentic self. So you don't then acknowledge your abundance and power of who you are by how much you have. You acknowledge it by the solidness of who you are, that you feel about yourself. There's a difference. Like when you know thyself, that is your abundance, because then you are going on a journey that you choose through your soul of what you want to bring in, and certain things might fall away. So at one stage, maybe you really, really, really wanted a home to live in. And then you start to come more in line with your soul, and your soul's wanting to be exploring more freedom. So the home's not such a big deal anymore. Maybe it's going to change into acknowledging that you just want a van that you want to do up, and you want to travel around the land and that sort of thing. So see how it shifts. It's not that it's that you were yearning for that home because you wanted to come home to yourself. Your home within yourself, the feeling that you have within you. And that means that you know 100% that it's going to reflect back as that coming to you. And sometimes we like the journey of a struggle a bit. So the journey of a struggle will give you that that friction so that you feel something different. So don't worry too much about what this looks like to the outside world and how, you don't look like you've got it all together for a while, but it is also to do with, they're saying, bringing it back into the moment more, faster and faster. So you might lose yourself for a day. Give yourself a day. You might lose yourself for an hour. Give yourself an hour, of really feeling into that. Where's that coming from? Why am I feeling so separated from the love of myself? Why am I feeling so and then just feel into it, and go through the purging. But as soon as you can pick yourself up, don't hold it in the logical mind that says, well, the outside world's expecting me to be miserable, and the outside world's expecting me to do this. And if I act like this, then they might give me what I'm really looking for in the outside world. Let it go. Don't listen to that logical mind telling you those things. Be present, childlike, like children. They don't hold on to anything. They can be crying 1 minute and laughing the next. They are moving through the emotions. They're allowing it to all be present. We literally have to learn to be childlike again, because the way we were brought up was so imbalanced. It was a way of never looking within ourselves and only seeking everything outside ourselves to make ourselves feel better, and chasing tails of other people, and then they chase tails of other people, and their whole world has just been chasing tails to try and make ourselves feel fulfilled. And I've seen people that are mega, mega rich break down and cry because they felt like they just got sucked into something where they lost themselves 100% in their businesses and so forth. But they lost, and then they really felt like they lost everything, even though they were millionaires. And so they still had this massive empty feeling within themselves. But when they pulled away from them, their personality, who they are, just being in that business and being that identity, then they gave themselves more freedom, more scope to try new things. And it didn't matter anymore, because they realized they can always bring, abundance will always come in. They're no longer hoarding and holding on to all of that, safeguarding it. Can you imagine how heavy that feels, the burden that happens on somebody's back when they are holding a whole massive million dollar business on their back, and having to try to fix everything as it goes and protect everything? It's not freeing. But when they free themselves, it's not that the business will fall down, only if it was completely, entrenched. But if it does fall down, they at least know, well, I've got the capacity. I know the tools within my logical mind of how to actually accumulate, what steps I did then to accumulate more wealth if I really need it, for freedom from my soul, from my heart, to expand into something new. It's trusting ourselves. And when we trust ourselves, we're walking on this earth through that trust. Totally different to the game that we've been playing. Yeah, totally different. Thank you, Nicole. I love that I'm confirming for other people too, because that just enlightens, it just makes my soul sing. Because what this means is that there's many, many more people already having these wisdom, these gems, these understandings within them, and then understanding where that they're actually part of a bigger group. Like I'm just not me getting this wisdom. There is many of us. We want more and more and more and more and more. We want millions of us to have this wisdom, because when this wisdom really starts to become who we are, we shift this world. We don't even need to fight the other world anymore. It literally becomes not necessary, and so it falls away, just like that. The elementals fell away from our reality many eons ago when that wasn't needed in our world, or we didn't think it was needed, because we were going on a journey of learning all about the logical self only. And so the intuitive side, which is to do with communication, too much more through your soul's connection, and that means communication to Mother Earth herself through the elementals, all of that had to go so that we can listen to only our logical mind and only the outside world, and see how far we can push it. And we pushed it as far as we possibly could. We don't need to push it any further. It got to the point where we're going to destroy ourselves, because in something that is like that becomes too far away from source energy of love or self, it consumes itself. So those that are really ugly start to consume themselves, and they start to, think of diabolical things of consuming their outside world and themselves. It's because they can't find love, and they will end up consuming themselves so much that they do end up finding, from a soul's perspective, of going that deep, that dark, that they end up only having one thing left, which is zero, which is nothing. And then in the nothing world, everything exists at the same time. So when they taught me to bring my two hemispheres together and to explore living in the absolute pure moment, just pureness of one moment, when they were teaching me that, I became aware that it was like an awareness of nothing. And I could literally, for moments at a time, just be in this no man's land of not being who I am, where nothing exists, but everything existed at the same time. Because it was then my understanding of my direction of what my reality would look like that would bring it in. And we are so much in our logical mind of how it's got to all play out. We're so much in our logical mind of A has to equal B, has to equal C, and there's no trust. There's no trust. And so then that starts to play out. A equals B equals C. But because there's no trust, it keeps reflecting back the no trust. They're bringing me to when I was I was camping with my family, and I went across the river and I went onto the field. And then I just sat there and went, I want to put this to practice. I really, really want to see this for real for me. And so I just sat in the middle of this field and closed my eyes, and already had the intention, pure intention, I was going to pick a 4-leaf clover. But I closed my eyes. I didn't look at anything. I just, as far as I knew, was picking a blade of grass. And I picked this so-called blade of grass. But in my head, because they'd already taught me to come to 0 point. So this is how I did it. I just went, there's nothing here, and there's everything, every potential. But the potential that I was focusing on was it was going to be a 4-leaf clover, only a 4-leaf clover. It was so pure in that moment in my mind. That's all that existed, that's my reality. And so it was like a letting go, a release of the logical mind had to just shush. It didn't understand what was going to happen next, because I was creating in absolute pure in the moment. And then I looked at my hand, and it was a 4-leaf clover. And then my logical mind went, holy shit, we're creating everything. We are creating everything. And it's when we start to come back to that responsibility of ourselves and understanding that we have to really, truly look at the essence of who we are to move forward. And no more expectations on other people, no more expectations on even ourselves. It's just living in this love essence of moving towards more and more and more of that love, of where we want to go in every moment. Can you feel how freeing that is? There's no I have to's. There's no even I want to. It's just purely in the moment of being in that love feeling, that love essence, and moving like that. So you're already in the desirable outcome in each and every moment that you move forward in. So profound. And like even with myself, my logical mind can flick back into thinking it knows best. And it's a tricky situation to go, shush, like really shush. And so literally my soul is taking me into these positions of feeling like I've got everything and then ripping it all away from me. And I'm like, why are you doing this to me? And it's literally to teach me that it's got nothing to do with having everything. It's got everything to do with how we're feeling within ourselves. Who are we? What's our identity of ourselves in this moment? So when you come to realize that you're source energy going on a journey, then you become godlike. And so that God is like literally just exploring, and no more fear of, oh my God, if I go there, if I try, if I leave this or I do that, then that's going to disappear forever. I'm never going to see. I have to hold on to it. All of that sort of starts to fall away. It doesn't matter. The matter doesn't matter. Literally doesn't matter, because it will always come back to you whenever you are in alignment with it again anyway. So you can let go, let go, let go, feel lighter. I literally felt that this morning, like I just want to go through all my artwork and just throw a whole heap of it in the dump. I just want to let go of a whole heap of stuff now. And that's just the reflection of me doing the action to me already within myself, releasing so much expectations of myself and my life and who I am and how I'm being perceived and all of that stuff. And, having to have a partner next to me so everyone outside of me sees that I made it, having to have this home. I don't need any of it. I can walk free now. It's not to say that I won't stay here or I might move on. I don't know. I don't know what that's going to look like anymore, but I don't have any sort of I have to prove something to somebody. Who am I proving it to? Who am I proving? Am I proving it to you guys? So you listen to my messages. That's been one of my things that I held on to. No, who gives a toot? Like, I'm just going to be me and love me for who I am. And better messages are coming through because of this work that I'm doing. It's like a higher understanding, a comprehension of where we're really going, where humanity can take their potential. Their potential is so much more. When they step into this freedom and this like balance of themselves, it's so cool, so beautiful. Janine's from YouTube. I thought I connected to Facebook as well. I haven't had any Facebook people yet. Maybe they're just watching in the chat bar. I'm in the process of selling my home and preparing to be living on the road, probably in a van. See, it's so crazy. I just like channeled that same thing through, right? When they were giving that as an example. It's amazing how free. Can you imagine when we're really free of just trying to look like something, downsizing, yeah. And then all of this trying to, buy knick-knack noodles. I have to have the new thing that's coming in. All of those sort of companies fall away. And all of those ideals of having to have a lot of stuff falls away, which gives opportunity to the people that were making the knick-knack noodles to actually look into maybe creating something that is literally going to be a stepping stone to humanity, being more telepathic or being, freer within their world, or just having beauty around them and stuff. So we're not wasting our life by making these knick-knack noodles in this freaking company that's really, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? We're just doing the movement. We're just doing the movement. We're waking up, doing a 9 to 5, just doing the movement, Am I actually giving anything to society? Am I actually giving anything to myself? Really is what it is. And so all of those things will start to fall away when the more and more and more of us start to realize, well, if one of those nickety-knack noodles needs to come into my life and me be happy in that moment, I will find it. It will become part of, and it will still be in my reality. There's this freeing up of realizing it doesn't matter what it is. There's no judgment. There's no nothing. It's just a freedom of allowance of whatever's in front of you. And this is how the higher frequencies then can match us. So those benevolent beings, they live like this. They don't live in trying to project themselves to look good for somebody else. They are just more their true essence of who they are. And they're accepting that. And that means the resistance as well as the, wow, I have all this, or the resistance of my shadow self, my emotional self. Like I literally bawl my eyes out all the time when I'm going through shadow work. And I'm just like, I don't care anymore. That was a gem. I needed to have that expression within myself. You know, don't need to cry in front of everybody and go do it in my own private way. But if that happened, that a tear starts falling in front of other people, so be it. Like, really embrace who you are. They just want us to embrace every aspect and start living life from love rather than fear. That's a really big thing. Yeah. Um, just think if there's anything else that's coming through. I'm actually holding on to a piece of moldavite if anyone was curious as to what I'm holding on to. For some reason, this allows me to connect to them even easier. See if there's anything else coming through. Any more messages for this moment and this time? Yeah, they're showing me like a caterpillar, like really accepting each metamorphosis part of ourselves. When we do that, we're actually then able to accept other people in where they are, and not try to shift them or move them into something else. It's kind of like, the cocoons wanting to become the butterfly, and here we go interrupting somebody by breaking open the cocoon. And if a cocoon's broken open by an outside force, the butterfly becomes extremely weak. It can't fly and it dies. So we're learning to allow people to be themselves and no longer needing to infiltrate them by trying to make them grow faster so that they can be in your life. Let them go. Let them do their thing. Let you become the butterfly. Let them be the caterpillar. Eventually, they will become the butterfly, and maybe then you've already turned into an egg. And I don't know. We're all in our rightful place at the rightful time. Allow the experience to happen, but you have to accept that within yourself of all the journey that you've gone through, so that you don't judge others and accept it within themselves as well. And then they start to accept it within themselves as well. Sorry. Yeah. Hey, Erica. Good to see you. Hey, Flower. See, there's a few there. Hey, Nicole. Margaret. Yannicka. Good to see you guys in the chat bar. Hope I didn't miss anyone. See if there's anything else that's coming through. No, I think that's about it. I'm not sure. Well, I've definitely, don't forget to look in my chat bar too. I mean, my comments in that. Sorry, don't forget to look at underneath the YouTube for my links. I don't know where I'm at. I'm like in this airy fairy world at the moment, only half present, and then they're like trying to come back to normal. Don't forget to look in for my websites. I'm an intuitive counselor. And a reader if you want a reading from me. Sorry, it's like this feelings coming over me, and I'm saying this, but I've got this something going on in my, so like this really light-headed feeling. There's been a lot of solar flares coming towards the earth, a lot more shifts, a lot more changes, like an eruption of lava or an eruption of fire coming from us, especially those that are meant to go up one more into more leadership roles. Like we do have missions that our soul wants to go on. Those that are in leadership roles, and we're not talking just even within companies and so forth, that sort of thing. If their whole game was more to their soul wanted to go on a journey of exploration and adventure, then they will start to focus more on that and allow the leadership role to dissipate, allowing a space for more to come up. Literally the reflection of what's happening within our brains, of letting go of neuron paths that aren't serving us anymore. And then we'll start to see this reflection within the outside world. Whatever is going on within you is literally a reflection of the outside world. So start to really focus in or ignite those neuron paths or those journeys that you want to go on, the things that you really want to do. Like really focus deeply into those as much as you can. And that's going to illuminate them. And then your outside world will start reflecting it. Don't try to save anything outside of you. Just come back into how you're shifting, how your mind's working, how are you feeling, how's all this working for you? Yeah, something like that. Anyway, Nicole, yep, funny as I decided I love the hair on my body, and after a long lifetime of hair removal, have let it grow. By crikey, others have noticed, and I just laugh now. Wow, true acceptance of who you are. That's amazing, Nicole. And like standing proud and saying that I love that about myself. Like we're just coming into there's a lot of young ones that are born that know this automatically. Like there's a lot in the teenagers in the 20s that were born from the 2000s up. It's been a big shift from that two number, from the 1 and 9 and the 1 to the 2 numbers, and numerologically. And so there's been all this new energy infused in those people. Those, young adults and teenagers know just to be themselves. And so we've got all this diversity that's happening around the world where young people are just being like, from a logical point of view of you have to try to fit in, and then watching them not fit in. What a freedom they're giving us, to just be who we are in the moment. And let our hair grow on our body if we desire. And if we don't, that doesn't matter either. If you don't want to, then you don't want to. Like, just listen to who you are and what you really feel within yourself. Sometimes, Nicole, bringing things like that back in is actually because you're igniting a past life that you once had, that where you didn't ever shave yourself, and so you're actually igniting that point where those memories can start to come through, and then you get more gifts coming through from that time. Could be when you were so-called and connected to the earth and had all the magic of that. So then the magic of that starts to come through you. Interesting that they said that. Yeah. Anyways, there's so much more to life coming up. I think I'll leave it there and close this. Thank you so much for being part of my channeling, and I'll probably be live again on Thursday. I'm going to try. I'm a real true Virgo where I'm very stigmatic, like I stick to the same thing over and over, and I'm trying to shake things up, but then I end up just sticking to the same thing anyway. Literally, my patterns, I love patterns for some reason. I've got like 5 or 6 Virgos in my sign. So I do want to shake it up a bit, and I do want to do some nighttime evening channelings as well. So if you want to join me in the evening channelings, if you're on the other side of the world, that'd be in the morning for you, and so forth. But yeah, I appreciate you too, Flower. I love you guys heaps and heaps and heaps, and just keep moving forward. Even if you feel like you're going through a lot of purging, a lot of something, feel like you're losing yourself, just keep moving forward, coming back to the central point of who you are. That's really what moving forward is. Loving yourself and just being gentle with yourself, being Yeah, careful who you are. Express who you are, and don't hold back anything. So I love you guys heaps. Until next time. I will find where this. I always miss where to say goodbye, and so the goodbye goes really long because I can't find my end stream. Okay, I found it. Because I've only done Restream a couple of times. That's all right, Michelle. Go back to the beginning and you'll see the whole thing is pretty cool. Actually, this channeling was really, really what I think that we need to hear at the moment. Love you guys. Bye.